Thank you everyone for joining us today. We've just heard about some of the exciting updates we're launching here at Miro. And as Varun spoke about, Miro creates a shared digital workspace for teams to move ideas forward, flexing from the basic in-meeting brainstorm functionality you expect from a whiteboard to powerful team-specific workflows. I'm Steve, and I run enterprise partnerships here at Miro. I work with the teams that focus on ensuring Miro is secure, that it's easy to manage with the rest of your systems, and that all your content, data, ideas, and people that are using Miro are protected. While Miro builds in many of these capabilities, we also want to ensure that we partner with industry leaders whose core focus is on protecting data and users, and they're experts in the security space. Today, I'm excited to have some of our key partners that have joined us in this journey of protecting and managing the hybrid workforce. Please join me in welcoming Andy Mallinger, Vice President of Product Management at Onna, Krishna Vasudevan, Senior Product Manager at Netscope, and Michael Mark, Senior Director of Product Management at BetterCloud. Welcome, friends, to Miro Next. We're excited to have you here. Thanks so much for taking the time. It's truly an honor. I'd love to start today's session by learning a little bit more about each of you. So we'll start with you, Andy. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself and Onna.
Sure. Yeah, like you said, VP of Product, joined Onna late last year. And Ona is really focused on IT users around knowledge management. We all know that the number of platforms and the places that information resides across any enterprise is a lot and getting bigger. And what we're really after is securely collecting, processing that information, and storing it so it can be accessible to people who are looking for that information, surfacing insights about it. We look across both structured and unstructured data. So we think about things in terms of collaboration tools like Miro, and we're excited about our partnership with you, but also content and communication. So email, files, etc. So bringing all that together so we can make it easier to gain value out of all that data.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Andy. Next, Michael, love to hear more about you and BetterCloud.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. My name is Michael Marks. I head up product management here at BetterCloud. BetterCloud's the market leader for SaaS operations. Our goal is to empower IT teams to transform their employee experiences, centralize data protection, and maximize their operational efficiency. And we do that by providing an all-in-one platform for IT teams to discover the SaaS applications that are in use in their organization, properly manage them, and then last and certainly not least is securing the data, the interactions, and the users that are using those SaaS applications. So we've been partnering with Miro recently to bring them into our integration center and building in different ways to properly manage and secure Miro to enable people to use it to its full advantage.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Michael. And finally, certainly not least, Krishna, tell us about you and the work you're doing at Netscope.
Hey, thanks, Stephen, and the entire Miro team for putting this together and kind of having us here. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to discuss the potential that this partnership has, right? So I'm Krishna Vasudevan, and I'm part of the product team here at Netscope. So Netscope is basically a leader in the SSE and the cloud security market space, and most of you guys might be aware of it. And we basically help our customers navigate this remote hybrid work era by providing best-in-class security solutions in terms of SASE and SSE, and we help them drive towards the SASE adoption framework. And we recently partnered with, we begin this partnership with Miro, and we really look forward to kind of the value that joint customers can obtain out of that partnership.
Great, thanks, Krishna. I appreciate it. So let's dig deeper into the partnerships and what we've been working on. One of the key focus areas has been around ensuring that Miro, a relatively new tool, fits in well with our customers' existing technology stack. As you heard from our platform team earlier, we've introduced the revamped Miro developer platform. And as part of that, we're ensuring that the partners and customers have access to industry-leading APIs. With these building blocks now, we're seeing partners like the ones here and customers build truly automated workflows to manage Miro at scale, the same way they're managing other critical systems. One of the leaders in that space, particularly, who we're excited to have join us today, is BetterCloud. Michael, let's hear a little bit more about the work we're doing together with Miro and specifically BetterCloud for Miro?
Yeah, we're really excited about the new developer portal that Miro has released. And it's been something that we've sort of been working on together for a while now. We've been consulting each other on what's the best way for the APIs to be structured in a way that's going to play nice with other SaaS operations or SaaS management platforms, so that we can make sure that IT folks can manage and secure those interactions, those Miro boards. How do we make sure that people get access to Miro that absolutely need it, and that we take away access when they no longer need it, and that we're securing all of the really potentially sensitive information that occurs while people are using Miro. So our partnership has been a beautiful example of two technology organizations working together to make sure that the interfaces, the APIs, and just the seamless nature of enabling companies to take advantage of the power of SaaS and of the power of Miro. So we're really excited about what we have, and we're excited about deepening it even further as we learn more about what our mutual customers are looking for when it comes to leveraging both BetterCloud and Miro together.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Michael. Couldn't agree more. So shifting gears a little bit, as we have more users leveraging Miro as this everyday go-to tool, mapping out ideas, brainstorming, collaborating, many other use cases, Miro's really become a cornerstone content repository for many of our customers. With this, we need to really ensure that IT and security can apply policies to content in Miro. And as part of their overall data and threat protection programs, we've identified Netscope as one of the key partners in this space. We built a connector together to enforce policies to limit some data leakage. Krishna, would love to hear a little bit more of the work that we've done together.
Yeah, I think this is a very exciting opportunity, right? Because if you look at the whole hybrid work or a remote work landscape, I think the most challenging or even the most opportunistic things are collaboration and security, right? So Miro in a way kind of fosters this collaboration between teams and people working remote. And then the place where Netscope fits in, it's like kind of we help you secure those collaborations, right? So we in a way we're kind of solving the two critical challenges in the remote and hybrid worker, right? With that being said, I think one of the key aspects of this partnership with Miro has been like we've been able to build a custom connector dedicated to Miro. So we have been helping the Miro team out on that. And one of the key USPs of that is like it will help joint customers kind of set specific policies for the traffic inside Miro, right? So if data is being downloaded, if sensitive data is being downloaded from a board, or if sensitive data is being downloaded onto a local user's machine, I think these are some kind of critical DLP use cases that this connector kind of helps joint customers solve. Right? So I think that is one of the key USP. And we would ideally want to build on top of this and kind of bring in enhanced feature set to that connector, right? Meaning like managing instances and doing DLP on critical data being downloaded, all those things. But I think this is just a start, and I think we have quite a long way to go. But we're very excited to partner with Miro on that.
Yeah, thanks, Krishna. We're also really excited. Shifting gears one more time, an area we've really been focusing on is meeting legal and compliance requirements for collaboration apps. It's critical and certainly extremely critical in some specific industries. We've had a lot of joint customers come and ask how they can implement e-discovery, legal hold, compliance practices around Miro. So for this effort, we've partnered really closely with Ona, a leader in the space. Andy would love to hear more about our work together over the past few months.
All right, great. Yeah, so Ona customers use our platform to support a number of use cases. E-discovery is definitely one. Privacy and compliance, contract discovery, application consolidation, and knowledge discovery in general, right? And like I said, there's information spread out through all of the platforms that we all use. I think the shocking number to me, 150 different data platforms that are used within the average company, even a smaller company like Ona. So we have a lot of information spread out in a lot of silos, and we're trying to solve the problem of consolidating that information so it can be brought together. One of the things that our customers have said, like we can get information out of Slack and Teams and Jira and Confluence, lots of different sources, but we have these other collaboration tools like Miro, where a lot of knowledge and teamwork is happening, and we want to bring this into this unified conversation and view of the world. And we want to do it as a visual representation. So it's important not just to bring in data and metadata, but actually like what's the view in Miro as of the board, for example. And then can I search it? So can I find out, like what is Stephen working on? So we think about things in terms of a knowledge graph, like what are the topics that Stephen might be involved in, or what are the content that he is working on. And so this ability to bring these things together around people, right? It's all people centric and the knowledge that they're working on. And so we built this ability to bring these things in, no code, respecting security, right? Like I don't want to show things to people who shouldn't have access to that. So we're inheriting that from the source, like Miro, being able to make sure it's secure, compliant with the policies, and available on demand to our users. So we're really excited to bring in this very visual medium of Miro into the mix.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's been fantastic collaborating with you to pioneer this in a new space. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the industry as a whole. Certainly managing and securing users has always been a top focus in the collaborative software space. We're moving toward a new way of working. Our focus at Miro has been around what's next. So I think it'll be interesting to hear from you all on, what's next in your mind. So let's dive into some of the topics that I know are top of mind for a lot of the customers we've been working with. First question is one that everyone is certainly working on right now, but no one really quite has the answer. How are your organizations approaching the hybrid work environment, and what are you seeing as important trends? What challenges are you dealing with? I think Krishna will pass it off to you first.
Hey, yes, thanks, Steven. So I think, if you look at the landscape as a whole, right, the whole hybrid and remote work, I think the key underpinning factor for it is flexibility, right? Flexibility in how I work, where I work from, and what kind of tools I use to accomplish what I want to do, right? So people don't really want to commute to and from work. They don't really want to wait for IT to approve a specific app, because key apps like Miro, Slack, everything is available within a few clicks, right? People don't really want to go through the IT approval cycle. They just want to get work done with the flexibility. So with this being said, I think the key challenges and trends or the organizations and companies are basically encouraging this flexibility in terms of how employees work and where they work from. So that is a trend that we feel is here to stay, at least as far as we can look ahead, right? And now on the challenges part, as I told before, right, so there are a lot of operational challenges, but the key things are how do you enable collaboration and how do you secure data when people are remote? Right? So these are two major challenges. And as I told before, companies like Miro, Netscope, BetterCloud, and Ona, so they kind of come together to kind of give the CISO or a CEO a comprehensive solution, saying that, hey, there is a bit of you have the confidence to go ahead in this remote work. Right? So we give you that ability and a platform to kind of conduct your business in this hybrid and remote work, and even though there are challenges. I think that is how we are actually. These are trends we see, and these are the challenges that I think we need to solve for our joint customers going forward.
Yeah, thanks, Krishna. Michael, would love to get your take as well. I think, certainly BetterCloud's been thinking about this for quite some time as an organization itself, but certainly in how you work with customers.
Yeah, absolutely. To piggyback on what Krishna said, the flexibility has really resulted in just the explosion of adoption of SaaS applications because of the flexibility in purchasing, like Krishna said, the flexibility in being able to use it wherever you want and whatever device you want. The hybrid nature, the flexibility of some people being in the office like I am now versus Andy and Krishna being at home, but us needing to collaborate on something together has forced us to choose tools that prioritize flexibility. So we've been seeing rapid digital transformations happening that should have taken years, decades, happening very, very quickly in order to enable businesses, in order to enable teams to work effectively. Ourselves as a Miro customer, we've also been leveraging collaboration tools like Miro for our own design sprints. And as product is working together, we have some people in the office, some people not. So you can't use a whiteboard when someone's working remotely. So it's great to have tools at our disposal that allow everyone to contribute and allow for that ultimate flexibility of people's personal preferences, as well as just using the tools that work for us and make us better.
Yep. Yeah, couldn't agree more. it's great to hear kind of how, you built a really cool solution for our customers, but are also using Miro internally. So let's talk a little bit about feedback and thoughts on this new space that we're in, visual collaboration. How are your customers thinking about the space, and how are they using it? Andy, would love to get your take.
Right. I agree with Michael. Like I said earlier, the number of systems that are being used and the siloed nature of that information is a real problem. But also, what are the topics and what are the sentiments that are part of that conversation? So as people are looking to improve the management of their knowledge, right? Not just their data. So like you said, e-discovery is one use case that we are involved in, and our e-discovery customers are asking us. We want to see not just the documents that people were working on, but the Slack conversations, the emojis that they're using, the words. We are looking at how do we incorporate things like sentiment analysis into the system, but also they want to see like what's the project work and who's been involved in those things and what were some of the comments. So that ability to see it, right? So you have an IT person who's looking to manage the data, and then kind of a e-discovery or a knowledge worker who wants to see the content of it, is really more concerned about the content and the insights they can grab from it. So that's how that move towards the visual representation of the work is becoming more and more important.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate all the work we've done together to kind of really come up with a new way to do this. It's definitely a different format than you see in other collaborative apps, and so appreciate all the partnership there. Shifting a little bit here, we think about Miro often being used in kind of a bottom-up approach, and so of course we want to enable admins to safely enable their users to accelerate that innovation. Curious from you, Michael, how do we help admins say yes to Miro as part of that process?
Easily. I think IT needs to provide the guardrails. Like, they should never be the department of no, they're department of yes, but, or like yes, and in order to make sure that the right controls are in place, that we have the right safeguards to enable the business to do what they need to do. When it comes to Miro, I mentioned a little bit, and I don't want to get too specific into our solution, but we want to make sure that we're giving people access that need access to Miro, and that's like no one else gets access unless you truly need it. That helps on a number of things, but from a security perspective, it definitely helps you control who has access to what information, especially if that information may be sensitive. So getting the right visibility, making sure that only the right people have access, and doing that least privilege enforcement is really important. The other way is to really pay attention to the configurations. So when a board gets shared, can anyone access that gets the link, or can we tighten it up to ensure that the access to that collaboration set or that content is being secured by ensuring that the configurations at the board level or even the application level, in Miro's case, are properly configured, and keeping a watch on those things. When those changes, settings changes happen, can we get IT to either automate the remediation and put it back to where it should be, or give them the insight to be able to make the right informed decision? So I think it's a blend of putting in controls to see who has access to what, as well as managing the SaaS application itself. I think if you take those two seriously, and you've got the right controls in place and the right processes, it's very, very easy to say yes to these new SaaS applications entering the business.
Yeah, it's powerful new way to look at best of breed, certainly. So collaboration tech stack for hybrid environments is about that, right? Best of breed, choosing the best tool that fits that way of work. What are the common sets of tools that you yourselves are enabling, your teams with? Andy, would love to get your take at Ona.
Right. Yeah. So we use all kinds of collaboration tools, things like Miro, Slack. We're a Slack, but we have a lot of customers that use Teams. So there's the kind of the verbal communication, but there's also a lot of linked content and attached documents that are part of that. We're using it for product planning. We use it for explaining to customers how the product is working today and working through how it's going to fit into their workflows. So our success teams are very involved with that. And, we really, our internal collaboration, it's something I'm like really proud of at Ona. We have a very collaborative culture, but we bring that to our customers as well. And so that, the kind of category, content, collaboration, and communication, like I said, we think about everything in terms, all that knowledge in terms of those three categories of sources.
Yeah, that's great. So the session's focus on security and compliance. Let's also take a look at this from a security perspective. What do you see as the new areas of focus and concerns for CIOs, CISOs, legal counsels, especially those that are in a more collaborative environment and dealing with a lot of external stakeholders? Andy, I'll pass it to you again.
Right. So again, because we are consolidating information, pulling it out of silos and making it available, there is a lot of concern around security, inheriting the security rights from the source. And one of the things that's, that we are good at and is required is, when you're talking to 30, 50 different sources, that security model could vary widely. And as I said, because we think about it at a person level, the rights of that person may vary depending on what source it's coming from. So who has rights access to the information? Is there PII in there? That is absolutely something that everybody is concerned about. And we look for PII and alert people to that, and privacy in general. And rights management, right? It's all about like who has access to the product. Within our product, there are workspaces and who should be able to get into that workspace and what data is in there from what sources. So it's a layered approach to make sure that we are paying attention to it and respecting those policies.
Great, thanks. Yeah, Michael, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with Andy. It's almost as though the questions that CIOs and CISOs are asking themselves are the same ones, right? It's where's my sensitive data and how do I know it's protected? The complication is that SaaS sprawl has just made answering that question infinitely more complex because the data now lives everywhere, right? There's no centralized place. There's no, if I protect the network, my data is safe, or if I protect this one application, my data is safe. It's the data's interfacing with other applications, and it's on the move, and it's going to this app, to that app, and data is just going everywhere. And it's just becoming very difficult for CIOs and CISOs to really get their arms around where is my sensitive data. So it's really important for us to make sure that we try to identify the sensitive data. Where is it? Where does it live? And how do we best protect it? Not only from what Andy was talking about of rights management and who has access to those, but it's also the actual application configurations, like I talked about earlier, the settings, as well as making sure we identify what truly is sensitive data. So I totally agree with Andy of making sure that we can identify where the data is and locking it down and only giving access to people who need it for the time that they need it, for the reasons that they need it, and making sure that we either get rid of that data or lock it in some other way once we're done with it.
Yep, that's great. Thanks. Switching back to the benefit from more of an end user, from a collaborative innovation perspective, what are you seeing as the biggest benefits of this new way of work? How is your organization embracing it for your customers? Krishna, will love to hear from you on this one.
Okay, sure. Sure, Steve, I think. I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Andy and Michael said before it. So the data is kind of sitting everywhere, and the key thing about this all hybrid and remote work is, as I told before, the flexibility. Right? You can do whatever you want from wherever you want. And with all the major traffic coming from SaaS application, you can share a sensitive file with anybody in the world anytime you want it, right? So it has brought in its own set of advantages, as well as it has widened the security circle, like what Michael just mentioned here, right? So I think with this being said, I think what customers, or at least how we are trying to solve this for customers, is like, initially, it used to be like you go to IT, you get shot down saying that, hey, you can't use this app, right? It was a no shop, like what Michael said before, but that won't sell anymore, right? You need to kind of be more granular in what you're trying to solve. Okay, you can have access to this set of data. These people can have access to this set of data. So the granularity and the context in which people are accessing data is of uttermost importance, right? I can give sensitive information, access to sensitive information to a certain set of folks within a company, but not to a different set of folks, right? So who's accessing what data and to whom is the department saying yes? So granularity and context are of key importance. And at least from a Netscope data production point of view, I think those are two things that we're trying to solve in our connectors, right? You can't just say that, no, you can't use Miro, you can't use Slack. No, you can use Miro, you can use Slack, but who's using it and who has access to what data? What is the context of the user? Is he in what context is the user accessing the data, right? So I think the context and granularity is how we are trying to make this a little easier for our customers. And I think those are the angles in which we're trying to build on what we already have, the partnership with them.
Michael, would love to get your take on that as well.
Man, I don't know. Krishna said it so perfectly. I don't know if there's anything left to add. I think you're absolutely spot on about the context and why people have access to what they have to. The granularity, the visibility is always such a unique challenge, mostly because a lot of these SaaS applications treat permissions differently. There's things where file repositories treat the access in a very different model than Slack does or that Miro does, and trying to treat the question of who has access to sensitive data. But sensitive data means such different things when we're talking about a Miro board versus a Slack message versus a file that's shared in Google Drive, right? So all three of those represent an opportunity for sensitive data and for different permissions and rights and things that have to be translated for IT in particular, security as well, security teams, to try to understand all of that. So to layer in the context as to why people need access and the granularity that's specific to each application and trying to understand that makes this such a difficult challenge for anyone to do manually and going into each individual application and trying to solve that sensitive data problem.
Yeah. Andy?
Yeah, all true. One of the other things is with that proliferation of platforms and where data lives, if I'm like, okay, I know I was talking about that last week, where is it? So do I have to, so if we think about like, how do we make it easy to find the information? So that, that is one part of it, but it needs to be made available to the citizen user without development being required. So how do you enable that access? And that, and then the last thing, so where is it? How do I give power to the users who need it without having to require our IT team to do a lot? But finally, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of files, there's a lot of chats, there's the information out there, but how do you turn that into knowledge? And looking for the relationships between all those types of information, finding linkages, insights, things like that. Those are some of the things, with people being, as separated as they are, where I just can't walk down the hall. Those are all problems that our customers are trying to solve.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well said, everyone. I think everyone called out a lot of challenges that are facing CIOs and CISOs, and I'm really excited about the work we're doing to solve for this in an entirely new category. Well, yeah, huge thanks to each of you for joining us today. We're really excited and grateful for the partnerships with BetterCloud, Ona, and Netscope, and we're really excited to continue to collaborate with you all on this and what's next. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Hey, thanks, Steven. Thanks again
So much.
to you on the whole
Thank
team.
you.
Taking this opportunity. Thank you so much. See you guys. Yeah.